Hey everybody, Dr. Perkins here. I am a board certified OBGYN and super passionate about all things female. In today's video, we'll be talking about how long after an IUD placement can you have sex. So in today's video, we'll be talking about what is an IUD and how is it inserted. We'll also talk about, is insertion painful? How long after insertion can you have sex? Can the IUD accidentally move during sexual activity? And the likelihood of an IUD falling out. Let's start by first talking about what is an IUD. An IUD is a T-shaped intrauterine device that is used for contraception. IUDs are nearly 100% effective in blocking pregnancy, as well as is very effective in decreasing bleeding. This really applies to the hormonal IUDs, as the non-hormonal IUD does not decrease bleeding, but is very effective with blocking pregnancy. IUDs are inserted inside of the uterus, and the setup for insertion in the doctor's office is very similar to getting a pap smear. In our image here, this is the vaginal space here. At the top of the vagina is the cervix. The cervix has a very, very tiny opening, which you may be able to see here, of which things can pass inside and out of the uterus. This space is usually so small that things do not fall out typically. However, the opening is present. Upon placement of an IUD, the IUD sits inside of this cavity called the endometrial cavity. Essentially, the IUD fits into the grooves of the inside portion of the uterus. At the end of an IUD is a string. The string is very soft, flexible, and the more that it stays inside of the body, it becomes even softer. The strings sit inside the cervical canal, and a small portion of that, roughly about 2 centimeters worth of string, will be hanging inside of the vagina. Because of this, while the IUD is in place, you can literally use your fingers to check for the strings. And you do that by placing your finger inside of the vagina. And once you get to the tip of the cervix, which often feels like the tip of your nose, you'll feel the string in the area. The strings are not painful, the strings do not hurt, and they're very soft. And so the likelihood of feeling the strings during sexual activity is slim to none. Placement requires having a speculum in place to open up the vaginal space so that we can see the cervix. I'm going to switch to my next model to show you what that may look like. On this model here, this is Ivy, this is the uterus, and the bottom portion is the cervix. Upon placing a speculum, this is the view that we can see as we're placing the IUD. An IUD can cause a pinch upon placement because for us to be able to stabilize your cervix to place the IUD, we need to hold the cervix at the top. This is the pinch that is often felt. This pinch lasts a few seconds, and if you were to take Motrin or Tylenol, or even pain medication from the doctors prior to insertion, this will help with the feeling of that pinch. Once the cervix is stabilized, then a dilation process needs to occur to open up the cervix in order to place the device. With that, the stretching or dilation takes a few minutes and should not cause any discomfort. Once that dilation has occurred, the device can then be brought inside of the uterus and released. Once this is done, the strings are essentially very long. We cut them pretty short in the vaginal space, and that is the IUD placement. It is always recommended after placement that you return to your provider's office to check for the strings. This is because there's a 5% chance that the IUD may be expelled in the first 2 weeks of placement. You may also get a pelvic ultrasound to check to make sure that the IUD is in the correct location and not causing any problems. Once your IUD is in place, you can still have sexual intercourse. The recommendation immediately, though, is to use another form of contraception, as it takes 5 days for your IUD to become effective at blocking pregnancy. So using condoms, birth control pills, or if you're transitioning from another form of contraceptive, as long as you continue that for 5 additional days, you should be covered from pregnancy. During sexual activity, as mentioned before, you should not feel pain, you should not feel the IUD, and your partner should not feel the IUD as well. If your partner is feeling the IUD, then I recommend seeing the doctors, evaluating for the location and placement of your IUD. I also recommend that on every annual visit with your OBGYN that you know whether or not the IUD strings are still visible inside of the vagina. This is because sometimes your IUD can rise inside of the uterus and the strings are no longer visible. The strings are very important for removal. If the strings are not visible, there is a small chance that you may need to surgically remove your IUD upon needing it removed or because the hormonal coverage is no longer present. Now, I've had patients ask me, well, will the IUD move in sexual activity? And the answer is no. As long as your IUD was placed appropriately, your IUD will not go to another location, affect another organ, or move from where it is in the space, the endometrial cavity of the uterus. If you have concerns about your IUD, I recommend that you see your provider for evaluation of the strings and the location of your IUD. I hope you've learned much today. I'm excited to also offer you a copy of my ebook, Hormones Don't Lie. With this, you'll learn about hormones, such as that with IUDs, as well as our other female reproductive sex hormones. You'll also learn how to manage them, how to improve them, and to create balance internally. To get your free copy, go ahead and click the link below. I'm Dr. Perkins, a board-certified OBGYN. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.